Nani? Ngezwakala? Lesi situlo sasibheke. Ngifulathele.
Sit.
Sifika shintshe finish.
Right, Mike.
Yes. Let me just wait for everyone to good day. Welcome to UKZN. I know some of you are not from UKZN. Some of you are. We're hoping that today is going to be an enlightening day, a day that we are all going to learn. I always say that entrepreneurship, you can't say that you're an expert in entrepreneurship because the environment is forever changing. So we're all here to learn. And we want to keep it quite casual because it's a learning space. We want to keep it in such a way that everyone leaves this room today having learned something. And so what we'll do, and the way the process is going to work, is our distinguished guests, I'm going to just give them an opportunity to introduce themselves, after which we'll then get into the order of the day, which is what is entrepreneurship and how is entrepreneurship becoming a career choice for us. And before we begin, I want to just state and make it quite obvious that our conversation is not going to be bogged down into a particular discipline. I know that we are here under the College of Law and Management, but entrepreneurship goes beyond the College of Management, the College of Law and Management. Entrepreneurship involves and includes all disciplines. So I would like us to keep that in mind as we go on. So with me today is myself, obviously. And who is me? I am Malindi Gunene. I am an academic here at UKZN. I teach and design curricula for entrepreneurship, technology management, and I do postgraduate supervision as well in entrepreneurship. And I work with NGOs, NPOs, and small businesses around, I can't even say around the province because it's become quite broad, not just in conveyancing and property law, trust, antenuptial contracts. Thank you. Civil litigation, commercial law, labor law, family law, administration of wills and estates. She had aspirations of pursuing a career in politics so that she can help others find their voice. Hence, find their voice. Malinga initially registered to study political science, philosophy and legal studies at UKZN, but fell in love with the idea of being a lawyer and helping people get their day in court, leading her to study for an LLB. The successful lawyer entrepreneur is currently pursuing a postgraduate diploma in industrial relations. Thank you and welcome. Every entrepreneur needs to know someone in your field. Every entrepreneur. Please, can I repeat that? Every entrepreneur needs to know her and her ilk. Then on my left, we've got Mr. Ntlanta Kambula. I'm actually, and I was telling him just now, I am one of his biggest fans due to his, you see, everyone is nodding. So I'm not the only one. Due to the schools, Edinvest schools, which are, I think, God's grace to entrepreneurship for us in Africa, so thank you. But let me read the official introduction. Mr. Ntlanta Kambula is the CEO of Edinvest Holding, Pty Ltd, a 100% black-owned South African investment holding company with a deliberate bias towards investing in scarce technical skills environment. He holds a master's in development finance from Stellenbosch University, among his other qualifications. Invest Holdings owns 4 artisan colleges and Kenan College, a private school located in Umlazi, as well as Nest Pre-Primary, which is a quality township preschool that is a feeder to top private and government schools. Kambulo also serves on the board of Agribusiness Development Agency, ADA, and previously served the boards of Itala and KZN Growth Fund. A man to know, who is here to change the world as we know it within our township spaces. Thank you and welcome. Then I've got Muhle Ndwalane, from student to entrepreneur. We've known each other for years now. So Mr. Muhle Ndwalane is the founder of Asante Solutions, a thriving business reputable for delivering creative, bespoke, digital transformation solutions for brands located in Umhlanga. He holds a degree in information system and technology, which he graduated with from UKZN in 2020 and was in the 2022 Forbes Africa 30 Under 30 list at the young age of 23. Ndwalane's entrepreneurial pursuits began as a UKZN student and was part of Enactus UKZN in 2017. Ndwalane founded Asante Solutions, which he ran while studying, and then co-founded Kinetics, a health tech startup, in 2019. Another recent feather in his cap was being elected as part of the 2021 cohort of Africa's Brightest Young Minds, which is an alumni network of entrepreneurs from 18 African countries between the ages of 22 to 35. He was also delegated to represent UKZN in California, Silicon Valley, in the US on the Enactus World Cup 2018. He later on served as the executive president in 2019 to 2020, pioneering COVID-19 responsive solutions that won the Global Ford Fund Challenge. In 2019, he was delegated by UKZN, to represent South Africa on the International Social Business Summer Program in Dhaka, Bangladesh, where he got to learn directly from the Nobel Prize winner, Professor Mohammed Yunus, who founded the Agreement Bank. Asante Solution clients includes likes of Mangwanani African Spa and renowned property development company, Daba Holdings, and us, isn't it? At UKZN. Thank you for joining us. So we find ourselves in a very interesting position. And I like the panel that I have because we come from backgrounds that I'm hoping are going to enlighten conversation. So just as a protocol, I prefer us going through what entrepreneurship is. I prefer us going through the realities of entrepreneurship, and then I'll give my panel each a chance to talk about what they're doing and how they're finding the entrepreneurship space. And then we'll take it from there, then we'll have a conversation around that. But before we begin, the first thing I just want to correct before we begin the conversation is that entrepreneurship is not just opening a business. So we need to put that out first. It is not just opening a business, but it is about the use of innovation to fill previously unserved gaps in providing a business proposition. So that is why I always cringe when I hear people, very important people, interchanging small business with the word entrepreneurship, because it isn't. And until now, we've also battled in language, especially if you speak isiZulu, to say what would you call it? So I'd like to introduce to you that from the isiZulu perspective, because I think it's important for us to learn these things in our languages as well. From the isiZulu perspective, entrepreneurship would be regarded as amavulandlela. Excuse me. Amavulandlela. So I would like us to keep that in mind, especially from isiZulu perspective, that it is not just any business, but it is businesses that are paving new ways of doing things. So we've started actually, because we are part at UKZN, we're part of developing language around entrepreneurship. And we are now really getting comfortable with saying, I'm a business and I'm a vulandlela. Because we are paving new ways of doing things, and that is what entrepreneurship really is about. Now, I won't have much to say today, and I'll let the experts really deliberate on what is entrepreneurship and what is entrepreneurship in their context. And I'll take it moving from this side. So we'll start right next to me. Over to you, sir. Oh, you got it.
Sanibonani. Ninjani. Nami ngiyaphila. Thank you very much, Malindi. Wow, when ufundelwa izinto that you've been part of, like, that's still me. So funny because at the office the team was working on pulling all this event together, but they made sure that I don't get involved on anything. Now I'm like, why they wrote so much about me? But anyway, we move. Thank you very much for the opportunity to be in your presence and you guys taking your time to actually come through here. So we start from sharing our journey and our experiences. Okay, great. It's always tough to be the first because you need to make sure that you're responding to the question. It would have been great if we but yeah, mine is a very I wouldn't say straightforward, but a very fortunate one because I view my journey in this space of entrepreneurship as one that has been a series of blessings and just owning up on each and making sure that I capitalize on each. Because when I connect the dots backwards, that all the challenges that one has had have been somehow a redirect to this space. Home is in Potchefstroom, born and bred there. Moved into a boarding school, which is in Adams College, staying with people coming from different types of backgrounds that are rich, poor, and everything. But it's taught me to be grounded to myself and to treat people as they are, not because of their status in life. And straight after that, when my parents ran out of funds to pay for my boarding fees, I was supposed to go back home. Lucky enough, because I was playing soccer and I happened to be so good in academy that was outside of the boarding house, had spotted me and wanted me to play for that academy. So they made means to get me accommodation, so more like a scholarship, but I still stayed. So my last 2 years in high school were that fortunate challenge. Fast forward, moved into varsity, got to UKZN with my marks, which were not so good on mathematics. Wanted computer science, didn't qualify for that computer science. I landed on BCom in information system. I only knew that it's BCom general because these information systems, these supply chains, you never know about them when you are still in high school. I don't know how, but I never got balance between the two worlds. So basically what my whole study or my whole qualification has been all about in information systems and technology and supply chain management is understanding the business world, the commerce world as it is, understanding the technological world, and the technicalities as they are as well, but be here to strike the balance because the guys that who can code and craft these solutions, they know so minimal information about the business and commercial world on how to craft solutions that are meaningful to people. On the other hand, the business people really don't care that much on how to create this solution. They're gonna think forward and just, we need to do this thing, let's get someone to do it. So they can't communicate because of the industry language, and we come in between to strike the balance because we understand the both worlds, the technological world, we can actually do it, but the business world as well, we can actually do it, and then we strike that balance. So that has been the qualification I've been studying in UKZN, and I won't lie, it's been really, really the one for me, and I'm grateful that I did it. But more than anything, the practical experience of everything that I've been doing as a student has been through my involvement with Enactus. of which I think most people that I know within the university is because I was abusing them in the name of Inexus. I would rock up into Malindo's office. That's how I first met him. Stayed for hours asking silly questions, I think, but he responded to them, and honestly speaking, they really gave me and my people that time cheat code on how to navigate the university system. I remember we started doing the whole market, Denim Friday and markets thing at Quad. Normally, we are not allowed to make noise or to trade within the Quad. But through conversation and understanding what does this mean in cultivating the culture of entrepreneurship, we found creative ways to do what we wanted to do at that particular point in time, and we'll have the whole Quad packed with stalls. People doing what they wanted to do with their businesses, and it was cultivating the culture. I was also trading within while I was still a student. But me loving creating stuff, me loving the digital world is what led me to also taking extra courses online, where I started learning on how to do graphic design, on how to do websites, and how to do all these things. So beyond my qualification, I started taking that journey for myself, of which it's massive open online courses. Now you know them as Udemy. So back in 2016, they were just something that was still very skeptical because they were not accredited. So I did it then. And yeah, fast forward, opened my business, started trading with other different companies. People trusted our services, and we've grown, we've accelerated our growth. More than anything within the business that I am blessed to work in today is the type of people that the business has attracted. People being the partners that I have within the business, or the team members that I have within the business, and the clients that we are fortunate enough to work with. They just understand it because we're in the digital transformation space, so it's not a layman conversation. Everyone knows that they need to do digital marketing, but how to go about doing that? Everyone knows that they need to adopt technology, but how to go about that? So it's a lot of push and pull kind of conversation until we find a common ground to actually craft those solutions. And the results of the work that we've been doing, especially during the period of COVID-19, because that is when we go full, we went hard. So when I was graduating from the university as the president and moving to either the corporate world or the entrepreneurship world, I had to make up that decision. So, because what I was doing as an Nexus could get me to any corporate company that I wanted because of the level of exposure, the networks and everything. But at the same time, I had to make that decision, and I won't lie. It was the trickiest decision ever that I had to make. But it's not because I chose entrepreneurship routes or business routes. Opportunities aligned so well and made so much sense for me to go this route based on what I'm passionate about and what I really love. And I got to discover all of that while I was still a student here in the university, while I was still busy here at the university. It's not like it's something that I like, I love what so-and-so is doing, I want to do it. No, it was not that. It was something that was coming deep from within me, from the different experiences, the different challenges that one has been waking around and navigating and solving. So yeah, today building up is that we think something about it once, we execute it, and then we smash those goals that we have set. You know, that has been the motto in every time. And then now the mindset is global, the operation is global. We've started onboarding our international clients headquartered in Paris, and then got to work in different countries while we're still here in South Africa. Building in, establishing operations and offices in islands, Mauritius, in partnership with big firms that one wished to have worked for if I went to the corporates, Accenture, of which is a global technology consulting and leadership strategy company. They were one of my companies that I wanted to go to. And when I jumped on this business journey and the entrepreneurship routes, the creativity, like, we'll find ways to work with this. And today we are SME partners. I'll pay Lisonto without communicating with them. So it's more like in the industry, because there's another skill that we applied. In the industry, we had businesses that we're going to work with that are friends. So yeah, that's basically my sum up, not even summed up, that's my whole story. I don't know what I'm going to talk about now.
Thank you. Believe me, you're still going to talk about a lot. Thank you for that. Mr. Kambule?
Good morning. Thanks a lot, Chairperson, and good morning to the fellow panelists and everyone that is here. In Jesus' name, amen. Chairperson, most of the people that are here were not born when I started in business. It was in 1996, 26 years ago. But despite that, I'm still learning. I'll talk a little bit later. I got into business coincidentally because I had not planned to be in business. I'm the first one to have gone into business at home. But like every other person, you're king according to my value system and the principles that I believe in. One, as a business person, but number two, as a Christian. And then I came back to focus on Ed Invest, which is what we are doing now. Schools, private schools everywhere, in artisan colleges. Now the question is, so that is a bit of a background of who I am. We've got schools. The first one, private school, is Mlazi. The second one, a Hilton. If you're driving past the entry on the left-hand side, there's a white school there, recently built. It's called Etham College. That's our private school that we built recently. We completed building it in July this year. And then in Port Elizabeth, we bought the country club in a golf course in Walmer, and we converted it into a school. And as we speak, I flew back from Joburg. We're finalizing a transaction to buy 13 schools in Gauteng so that we can expand private schools. So the expansion is we are expanding. As soon as you say you've got all these things and people think, he must be loaded. Okay. Now, what is entrepreneurship? I believe an entrepreneur solves a problem. I think everyone has said that exists in the market. But beyond that, an entrepreneur doesn't only think about now, but always thinks about the future, building a legacy and making an impact. But more importantly, building a business that will outlast you. Whether you sell that business or you keep it, but you are driven by what we call, okay, I hope I'm introducing a new term someone will learn, an exit strategy. An entrepreneur, as an entrepreneur, I'm not driven by how much cash I have now, but I'm driven by how much cash I will have when I exit that business in the future. In other words, I may not have cash now to buy a Lamborghini, but I've got enough assets to liquidate some of them and buy a Lamborghini. But I've consciously chosen to invest into the future and invest into the exit strategy, so that when I exit, I decide to exit in 10 years, 15 years, I will be worth a lot more. Let me give you an example, practical example. To build a school will cost you about 80 million rands. Okay, you'll raise capital. In other words, you'll raise what most people call funding. You'll raise capital. The banks will give you 60%. Okay, are you ready for a bit of mathematics? Okay, we'll give you 60%. 68 by 6, let's rather say 100 million, that is simpler, although it's about 80, it's 100 million. So if you're raising 60%, you're raising 60 million. The bank will want you to contribute your own contribution of 40%, which is 40 million. Now, you go out into the market, talk to people and say, look, I've got 10, can't you give me, then you get friends who trust you, people who trust you, they give you the balance. So you've got 40 million of your own money plus other people's money, OPM. Now, so you have a choice to either take your own contribution of 10 million, buy a Lamborghini, buy a cottage house, beach house, for the sake of Instagram, or create value that will, in the next 10 years, when you've paid your loan, that will give you annuity income. Annuity income, in other words, income on an annual basis of about 25, 30 million rands every single year. So your 10 million rands has created annuity income of 25, 30 million rands in 10 years' time. I hope someone is learning. So you don't get, as an entrepreneur, what we call instant gratification. Am I saying don't go on holiday? I'm going on holiday in December overseas. I've just come back from overseas September. I was in Miami in March. So you budget for your fun, but as long as it does not affect the exit strategy. The exit strategy is what you should live by your whole life, driven by what you want to exit this business. We are planning to exit this business at about 1.5 billion to 2 billion in about 12 years' time. And we believe God, we are going to achieve it at the rate we are growing now. So it's either you take money and show off, or you take money and show impact, which will give you wealth. Wealth is not the same as cash flow. Thank you.
Thank you. That was very wise, and I'm sure, because I could hear everyone going, the lessons. I hope you're keeping those lessons in mind. We move on to you, madam, in that legal world that we all fear. Over to you.
I'm glad I chose law, because imagine. Sanibonani, ngiyaphila. Nami ngiyaphila, nguzamela mina wakamalinga. A lot has been said. A lot has been said, and I just want to say this in passing, ukuthi, I'm where I should be, and where that is I feel small. So being an entrepreneur, you can't be the smartest person in the room. If you are, then you're in the wrong place. So with everyone that has introduced themselves, I'm like, I'm learning so much. I'm so happy I'm here. I wish I was sitting on the other end. But anyway, I've been making notes. I always joke and say, if unikeza ummeli the microphone, they'll talk for hours. I can go for hours. So I was making notes. Before I talk about what entrepreneurship is to me, I just want to give you guys a practical example of what it is. So entrepreneurship for me is not indlala. It's not ukubambuyeka. That's why Sis Malindi, when she began, she said, Uguti, it's not starting a business. And a lot of people, I say it's not indlala or ukubambuyeka, because a lot of people who don't know what entrepreneurship is go into business and think that my entrepreneurs, because I need to put food on the table, I need to do that, but as we've learned today, that's not what it is. Now, to make more sense of what I've just said, when Mr. Kambula was speaking, he's a developer and they're building private schools. So in the mind of any entrepreneur or corner, it should be Uguti, who's cleaning the school, who's doing this meetings, I'm an attorney. So I'm thinking, Uguti, I know Uguti's got employees. What happens when my employees don't behave? Who's drafting my contract of employment for him? Who's doing this for him? Who's doing that? you see, that's got nothing to do with being hungry and me wanting to buy myself a Porsche or me wanting to get money. But entrepreneurship is you providing solutions. It's identifying problems within your community or with society at large, and then thinking, what can I do? What can I bring to do away with lezo inkinga zabantu that people have. I think that's what entrepreneurship is for me, because starting a business, we could decide now what is daisamans, but what's that solving? What it's a solution to what? Okay, so yeah, that's number one for me. And yeah, I just also wanted to add, that's how you make valuable contributions to your community, to the society at large. Yeah, I think if I carry on, I'll just end up messing up. So, yeah, thanks.
I like it's not about ukulamba, it's about reading. So what you're saying is about reading the environment. And I think all that you've said and everything that the panelists have said thus far is going to bring about very interesting dialogue that we're going to have. Over to you, Dr. Lu.
Someone did greet in the name of Jesus. So I'd like to greet everyone. My name is Dr. Lungile Mhlongo. I am a medical doctor by profession. First, before I start answering the question, I would like to applaud everyone that has put this thing together. I wish we had this when I was still in medical school. And it would have saved me a lot of years of trying to figure things out on my own. So well done to everyone that put this thing together. So with me, it's a bit different because I studied medicine and I knew nothing about entrepreneurship. And everything that I'm doing now is all driven by, I'd say passion now, but this is one of my go-to lines that I've grown through what I've gone through. Everything that I do today is based on the problems that I had before, which goes back to what has been said, with entrepreneurship is actually solving problems. And for me, it has been a personal problem that I've been trying to solve. Then I decided to extend it to everyone else, and I actually figured out there's actually a demand for what I'm offering now based on what I went through. So what I will add after everything that has been said is that sometimes there are things that are frustrating you and you can't find a solution for it. The solution is within you, and the solution is within what you just need to take a step and do. And there are thousands and thousands of people that are dependent on that. I never knew that I would make money from or make a living from helping someone that has acne, which is what used to frustrate me. It used to be hell for me. It put me through depression. It made me antisocial. I never knew that out of that, I would actually make a living. Should I have not taken a step to actually act on it and start a business to help other people to find the solution that I had found as well, to try and assist other people, the problem would still be there. I've had thousands of clients coming in and out of my practice, coming in frustrated, stressed, going through what I was going through, and then walking out after a couple of months having being happier, being more confident, and like we always say with my friend, there's this lady who's been. She answered Miss Universe, ngokuthi we need to cement our space. And we took that with my friend and we ran with it. And I love to see my clients when they walk out and they're cementing their space and they're taking up spaces wherever they are, my field. So for me, my business has been driven by passion. And it's everything that I do is based on what I went through. One, I went through acne. How I got into medical school was because I lost a parent. I lost my dad from a condition that was very rare, that only 2 doctors were able to actually fix him when he had an attack. So the one time he had this attack, I was very, very, very close to my dad. And the one time he had an attack, and both these doctors were on holiday at the time, and no one could help him. And this thing would cause him so much pain. I had never seen my dad cry, but that day I saw him crying. That's when I figured out how intense the pain was. And he had this pain which led him to having a stroke, led him to having a cardiac arrest, and then he passed. As dad's favorite, I felt so bad. I was so angry. I was so upset with what was going on around. And I was like, why are there only 2 doctors in this country that can help my dad? And then I realized there was a shortage. And then I sat down with myself and I was like, instead of being angry, let me be the change I want to see. I can't keep blaming the government as a problem. We have shortage of doctors. I am here, I'm in grade 11. Let me go into medical school. And that's how I ended up in medical school. And then fast forward, I got skin problems. When I was already in practice, I got skin problems, severe skin problems that started when I was in my late 20s, which then drove me to bringing a solution to what I'm doing today. And for me, it just makes it worth it. There's something we didn't mention. Entrepreneurship is hard. I did not learn it. I'm learning as I grow, as I go. I'm learning as I move, but it is hard. So if it's not driven by passion and you are doing it because Usbanban is doing it, I'm doing it because Usbanban is doing it, you're just going to fall off the wagon. So me, now what helps me is passion of seeing my clients. I literally, in the morning, sometimes have to go through Instagram to find one of my clients that I've helped. Then I look at them and like, let me go create more of these. So you need to find a reason why you're starting, and that reason is something that you are always going to go back to. Entrepreneurship, running a business is hard. I mean, I came into business as a, I'm not going to be long, I came into business as a medical doctor. I was working on Mantobel as a medical officer. I resigned. I went into my private practice. I got into my private practice knowing nothing about business. All I knew was I'm helping people. I just came here to solve the problem. And I started helping people for free because I'm used to working with government where all and then I get paid at the end of the month. I realized the last day of the month, there's no money coming. There's stuff that I need to pay. I need to buy, I need to restock all this medication that I've been giving out because all I want to see you okay. I want to see you better. That's when I realized now I'm in business. I am a doctor who happens to be an entrepreneur, so I need to balance these things out. And what I figured out was I can't do everything myself. I learned to stuff my weaknesses. I can't do HR. I can't do HR. I can't deal with stuff because it was frustrating me how I'm a loving person. I hardly ever so once I've gotten to know you as my staff member and I know your home problems and everything else, it becomes very difficult for me to say, you're not performing anymore, I feel like you should go back home. So that's when I realized because I need to actually staff my weaknesses. I will stay being the nice person to staff, but have people that are going to deal with this into their business before it starts affecting the business. So when you're going into business, you guys are lucky you have this. I didn't know anything about this. I started entrepreneurship when I was still in medical school. I was hungry. I know you said it's not because you're hungry, but I started it because I was very hungry. I had no food. I had no parents. And when I started first year, my mom passed. And when my mom passed, I went into depression. I had psychological problems. And then my academics suffered. And then I was a semester behind from my class. And then I lost my bursary, I lost NSFAS, I had nothing. So I was just moving. So I started doing people's hair. And I would do people's hair, I'd make money, and then take that money, go buy extensions, and then that's when I started learning. Little did I know that God was building me at the time for where I am now. Because those skills actually came back now when I was then, after I had treated people for free after I had taught mina njengudokotela ngizohola ekugcineni. Then after those mistakes, I learned. I didn't say I'm closing shop because I don't have money to restock, I don't have money to do this. I learned from that. I went back to people that have been in business, gotten advice on what to do and also what to do and what needs to be done for the business to run, from the admin part of it. So part of running a business, the important part of it is to know your weaknesses and stuff your weaknesses.
Thank you. Thank you for that very, very interesting past and journey to entrepreneurship. I think, ladies and gentlemen, what we have just learned from just the introductions, because by the way, those are just the introductions. We're now going to get into the nitty-gritties. And the one thing that I want to emphasize, which I think has come through with everyone in the panel here, is that getting into entrepreneurship, one, is not easy. And I think one of the biggest challenges we have, and I know this because I'm an entrepreneurship lecturer, and one of the things that happen is almost in every consultation, I'll get someone saying, hi, but I know so and so, they went and they got a tender and they were happy. So now, why are you telling me that it's going to take a while? I mean, I've had a student actually walk out of my office very angry, saying some very nasty things, because he just felt that I was leading him astray and I didn't want him to make money. And that's the mindset that we need to change. And I like the fact that what we've heard thus far in the introductions is the fact that passion is where we need to be, is the fact that reading the environment is what is going to help us build entrepreneurship. And the reality is the world is full of problems. There are so many problems. The more we find solutions, the more problems we have, which means the more solutions we require. But all those solutions are not going to happen overnight. And one thing that has come through here is that it didn't happen overnight. Now, I want to first bring some questions before I take it to my lovely audience, because I know that I've been told already that there are so many questions that are coming up. And I really don't want this to be about us as well, especially not me. I'm just the host. So I think for me, I want to start with you, Mr. Kambule, with education. The one thing that you said is that Kahlehle waqala ngo-1996. Sukunyaka ba manje? 2022. Yinde lendlela. Yinde lendlela. And I think the one thing I like about the fact that you always come out and say you started back then. And I've heard you speak a number of times and you never forget to say waqala nini. And I think it's so important for us to know and acknowledge that, to always spread the word of akaqalangi izolo kwase namhlanje sekuba thelele kwaba happy new year. No, it didn't work that way. It's a long journey. It's a lot of sacrifice. Sometimes even people around you will also suffer. Given the fact that you've been in this space for this long, how has it been to navigate through and balance between 1996 namanje and having a family, balancing that, being in the church, balancing that, being a friend to your friends, and because you kind of sort of have to split yourself into so many people, and agulula as an entrepreneur, unlike other professions. How have you managed to do that? And how are you, because it's not, how are you still managing to find that balance?
Thanks a lot, Chairperson. Let me start by saying, Sorry, I want to say something. You mentioned Zozi. Is it Zozi? But you look like her, by the way. Yeah. Am I right? Eh? Yeah. When I figured, I thought, okay, there's Zozi as well. I'm timing myself because I want to speak for 3 minutes, not more than that. When we started 26 years ago, it was much easier than now. Very controversial. I thought it was easy to run a business when I started. I realized later that it's very difficult. What made me to walk away from the business I started in 96, which I walked away in 2010, two reasons. One is the climate was bad, very corrupt. But number two, my business partner was exactly similar to me, and I did not bring someone who would complement me. So we both love life, we both love fun. We would wake up in the morning and just go overseas. When, like, literally, just wake up in the morning and say, James, bro, let's go to London. At the time, we didn't need a visa to go to London, to the UK. And that's it. In the evening, we'll be on the flight. By the way, let's stop over in Dubai. They were still building Dubai in the late 90s. Let's stop over in Dubai and see what is happening. We were crazy. And we chowed the money. That was before I got married. So that's number one. But I learned that I'm strong in casting the vision. That's what Dr. Lu was saying. But I'm weak in managing finances and doing administration. So when I started my second business in 2011, I said, the business partner has got to complement me and bring a different skill set. So I'm saying it was easier then because I thought I knew everything. But it's much harder now because I know that I don't know everything. Entrepreneurs tend to be arrogant and think we know everything. Now, once you know that you don't know everything, then you get the correctly skilled people to help you to run the business successfully. Now, because I've got correctly skilled people, in our business, we've got 4 chartered accountants, 2 lawyers, and so I've got people that are running finances, that are running administration, that are running a whole lot of different areas, which allow me to be able to spend time at home. I plan my time much better. Every Tuesday I'm in Joburg. Every Tuesday I'm in Joburg, and every Wednesday I typically come back Wednesday evening, and that's my life. Monday I'm at the office doing administration. Tuesday outside of the province, and Wednesday I'm back. Wednesday at 2 o'clock I have to watch my son play cricket. It's non-negotiable. So my flight must be 12 o'clock, land in Durban by around 1, be at Highbury in Hillcrest by 2 o'clock to watch my son play cricket. If this was going to keep me post 2 o'clock, I was going to excuse myself at 1:30. I have to watch the young men play cricket, non-negotiable. So so the point is, it's important to try and balance and find those times. And then Thursday, it's church, it's work and church, and then Friday, it's friends. Friday afternoon, I meet all my friends, and then Saturday, it's family time, cricket and family time, and then Sunday, it's church again. I've been doing this consistently for the past 15 years without fail. Tuesday, I'm in Joburg. Wednesday, I'm back home. Every evening, for the past 15 years, and it's just how I've been running my life. So that consistency and proper planning has helped me to be able to balance a kaya, balance at home, balance at work, and make sure that I deliver. Thank you.
Thank you for that. You know, we go through, I attend a lot of entrepreneurship development seminars and all of that. And we always forget, and I'm so glad that this came up, we always forget to think about you, the person, and how you fit in as an individual into this business structure. And the one thing, and I'm so glad someone else is saying it, and it's not me standing in a lecture saying it, that what you're raising is discipline. The ability to be disciplined is extremely important in entrepreneurship. You actually can't do without discipline. And which actually brings me to a question that is now more on the legal side, and I can just see you like, the reason I want to bring it to the legal side is because I think right now, if we were to walk out, Siegu West Street, what is it called now? It's not West Street. I forgot what it's called. Mubani? Pixley Gasem. CCMA offices, you're going to, and she smiles. You know where I'm going with this. If we go to the CCMA offices right now, you're probably going to find that majority of the people who are there ngama disputes are people who are in small businesses. And I'm going to say in small businesses and entrepreneurial businesses, because I don't like mixing the two. We need to understand where they differ. But majority of them, they're there because they didn't even realize what they were doing when they were hiring people. If you go to a claims court, you're probably going to find a lot of people sitting there who are in business because of some contractual obligation. So in your space, you've come into business. And so I'd like to find out from you, in your space, being from the legal fraternity, how are you navigating fulfilling and serving the market of small businesses? Because I saw that you also get into contractual law and all of that. And is it a space that still requires a lot of learning? And what are your thoughts around what's happening with small business being from the legal side?
Okay. Funny enough, well, fortunately for me, I'm doing a postgraduate diploma in industrial relations. So fingers crossed, if everything goes well, maybe April I'll be here to graduate. So with that diploma, I can actually be a commissioner at the CCMA. So we're trained by commissioners at the CCMA, so your bargaining councils and so forth. So that's why I was laughing. But to answer your question, Mr. Kambule alluded to this, Uguti, right? When you're starting, Ulu was the problem solver. She said, okay, this is the problem and this is how I'm gonna solve it for myself. It started with her, right? So we can call her the creative person, as well as Mr. Kambule. But in every business, you can't do it alone. You can't do it alone. And so I'm a small businesses, la shayega corner is now ngikamuke with this brilliant idea or solution and I'm taking it out to Abantu, right? And now I'm just running with it. HR imina, legal imina, contract download lapha ku Google. Oh my word. You get clients who come sebenesela agreement yabo abazenzele yona and wena fana wenze i-transfer ye-property. And when you look at it, they cited themselves wrong. And you know, and there are no quick fixes. What has helped my business grow, by the way, I started, okay, I'm just gonna paint the picture, what I'm trying to say. So my husband and I, we own a house in Umbilo, about 5 minutes away from a Howard College. So it's a nice 5-bedroom house. We don't live in it. We live in the back room of that house. The house, in the back room, they're very good with talking to abantu. Then I guess a lot of things because now when you go to you know, so I think it's more about finding abantu that complement you, but also adding ama services. Otherwise, you will end up at the CCMA. The one thing I always say with my clients, don't do A, B, and C, because if you do A, B, and C, this is what will happen. At the back of my head, because I know they will go do what I said don't do. Then I get more money out of that. So Nani, I'm telling you, in as much as usisi eqalile ubuhlalo, but maybe she's not good with money, like myself. Minimal ngayibona fanele, like that's just who I am. But if there is umuntu, there are people who are gifted. There are people who went to school for that. Manage imali. Hire that person. And minage, yabo, you can sell me anything if you're going to show me value in it. So if utuwena, njoba wenza u50 rand zamela ngenyanga, mina ngizokwenda wena muwedwa uyayidla lo 50 rand usale no 5 rand. Mina muzongiholela u10 rand ngizokwenza sure ukuthi phela inyanga usanawo 40 rand. I'm sold. You're hired. So hire abantu abakanjalo. So if usisi enza ubuhlalo, because then we tend to think ukuthi amabhizinisi ilawa orola ngesihlalo office eline air conditioning. It's not that. So if usisi enza ubuhlalo and she's the creative ukuthi mina ngiyakwazi ukuhlanganisa ubuhlalo, then akathola umuntu who's good with marketing. Because the business will crash if kukuthi uzokwenza ubuhlala angalali ebusuku ekseni fana avuke futhi ayoma kwi-stall azodayisa. Next thing usesihlinele thina siyafuna ukuthenga because akalalanga. Uyayizwa lonto le. So then she must find someone who's good with marketing. Usemtholile kumuntu who's good with marketing and the business is going, so she's making sales. Then she must get someone now who's going to manage that money, because if she doesn't get someone who manages that money, she's going to blow the money. Or even if she doesn't blow it, it's not going to grow. I think, yeah.
Thank you. Thank you for that. I want to, I know Uti, there's a lot of questions, and before I take it over to Dr. Lou and to you, I want to first just, a lot has been said, and I can see that people have got questions that they want to pose. Because so I think let's just take it over to the floor. I've got 2 questions for you, though, that I will bring in. Maybe some of the questions will be asked. Can I have someone with a roving mic, please? And can I ask my colleagues to time the Q&A, because time is not on our side. Is there any question there?
Thank you so much. Good morning, everybody. And thank you so much to the panel for an inspiring presentation. Mr. Kambule, the question is posed at you. I liked what you said about the exit strategy. If you can just give us a concrete example, give us 10 years, and how can one plan? You know, and the second question relates to the fear of the unknown. Everybody has that. All of us have a story of somebody who tried it and it never worked. My dad's businesses all fell apart. So how does one take that leap? You said it's a leap of faith, but if you're an atheist, what do you do? Thank you.
What we'll do is we'll take a couple of questions, and then, so let's do 5 questions, and then the panelists will bring them back. I see a hand over there.
Good day, everyone. Hope everyone is doing well. My name is Ntando Pewa. I'm an alumni here at the College of Law and Management Studies. I run my own business as well. So, yeah, I'm so happy for you guys that you have this opportunity.
Please, can you stand?
Oh, okay.
Thank you.
All right. So I've got a question for Mr. Nkambule. He mentioned that he started his business 26 years ago. I doubt that he's reached 60, so I'm sure he was a bit, maybe was 20. Yeah. So I wanted to find out how did he go about to navigate, the pressure of starting your own business, especially as an academic, it's more puma, they expect to say, graduate, and not have that when you have an exit strategy in mind. I remember my graduation, ngangingekho happy. Ngale ndlela they wanted to do a bribe for me. I didn't want it because I knew that they want for me to go and work, and I wanted to be in business. Yeah, but so mhlampe lokho baba bengafisa ukukubuza mhlampe usilekelele, because I know most of you guys, if you want to go to be in business, you'd have to go through, especially as kade esho usisi wakamalingo ukuthi musaqala ngeke ingene imali mhlawumbe bazokubizana nama family meetings ukuthi awufuna ukusebenza. Well, I know that's what I went through, but today the business employs 9 people, including myself. It's turning over 6 digits, yabo. But essentially, if you know story sakho and you attend these things, because I used to attend these things as well. So yeah, I think that's the question I'd want to know. Probably mhlambe to help others navigate through that season. Where life cycle your business isa imali ingeni, but you've got a vision. Thank you.
Thank you. Can we have another question? There's a question that side of the room.
Hi, Sanbola. My name is Unzuzo Dlamini. I'm doing my MPCHB medical school. So my question is to Dr. Lu. So I want to ask Uguti, like what pushed you or motivated you, Uguti, resign from that department? Like go to create your own like surgery? Like did you find funding or you just went with like a mass savings on Holo Ako? Or you had your plan B, maybe if it doesn't work out, I go back to department or UKZN. Thank you.
Right at the back, behind you.
Sorry. Good afternoon to everyone. My question is not necessarily directed to a specific person, but it's relevant in the sense. So I wanted to ask, with regards to business, like starting your own business, if you are in an environment that isn't necessarily favorable for the kind of business you want to start, how do you do it? For example, let me give you an example. In the country, South Africa, we are in the 4th Industrial Revolution. We're moving and trying to combine biology, technology, and every other sphere so we can move forward. But then there are courses like sciences, especially, let me give an example, my course here at UKZN, whereby you can't necessarily or essentially find a job, and it's very hard to create a job for yourself, and you'd have to actually go to other countries to perhaps work and sustain yourself. So how do you make, let's say, create a space for yourself in a country or in a region whereby something like that is not necessarily favorable, or you aren't essentially able to start from the bottom and go up?
Just before you sit down, what science is that?
Biological sciences.
Biological sciences.
Yes.
Okay. So we've got 4. Thank you. We've got the last question over there.
Greetings. My question is directed to Umuhle. So okay, let's say I'm a person who is an aspiring executive president for a specific maybe society, for example. So there's all this traveling, these competitions for enactors on your side, for example. So now as a student, how am I to strike a balance? You know, I've got a personal life, and then there's this traveling. I want to, presidency is coming. There's these invites everywhere. The balance, how do I strike it as a student?
Thank you. Thank you for those questions. I'm going to try and tackle that biological sciences one first. You can see me, yes. And then I'll bring it over to you guys to handle. And please do help me out where I need help. So I think one of the biggest challenges we have is the fact that in this country, education has been designed in a very one-track mind type of curricular design. And that is what we are trying to change with programs like from Incubate. I hope you are aware of Incubate. Right, kinda. He's not aware. Please make him aware of Incubate. So what we need to try and do, and this is a challenge for us as academics in higher education, is that we need to get into all spaces, not just in the College of Law and Management, to train and teach people that it is a mindset shift that you need. I'm almost 100% sure that if you were to go through my course, for instance, you probably will start thinking differently even about the environment. You start thinking differently about the fact that there are no opportunities in SA. And you will start creating your own solutions outside of the box. So I think the problem here is not necessarily that the environment in South Africa does not allow you. What entrepreneurship does is say that there are so many challenges and so many barriers. How do I navigate through them? So our training in entrepreneurship gives you that ability. Unfortunately, it's still going to take us a lot of years to infiltrate, I don't like that word, but to get into all the different disciplines. And it is my belief that entrepreneurship is not logged in management. Like in most universities, we find it in management. It is a mindset shift. It is training the brain to think differently. It is training the mind to view the world very differently. So for instance, if you were to walk in my shoes, from the moment I walk out of my house until I get into a mall, I've read everything and created solutions for it and thinking, if only I had that skill. So unfortunately for most of us, we didn't grow up in households that had that mindset shift. We didn't grow up in society that had that mindset shift. The leaders in our communities don't know about that. And it requires a whole overhaul of how we think. And I bet you if you're to sit with me for a couple of sessions, you will start even thinking differently about biologicals, and you might actually start finding solutions in that. So don't give up, and don't close the door to say it's not possible in South Africa, but rather say to yourself, how do I change my mind and think differently? I've answered you? Okay. Dad did not even have anything written down for them to follow. There was no model, there was nothing. And who have gone through that. And until we learn what has just been shared, I think we are always going to have that problem, unfortunately.
Can I just add something? If I die today, in my will it's clear what has to happen. My wife is not going to get involved in my business. She's got her own business. My kids are not going to get involved in my business. So the exit strategy, if I were to die today, is clear. This is what is going to happen. Boom, 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 boom. What my kids want and what my wife wants is money. They want wealth, so they will get money, but not my business because they will destroy it. They don't know anything. They don't have the same passion on education like I do. So it's quite important that we plan exit strategies from day one. Thank you.
Dr. Lu, is it working? As I said, yes.
Okay, I've learned so much from today. I'm so grateful that I'm here. Just to add on what has been said about building a model, we always wait to think, if I'm still selling 3 units of the products, I don't need to have systems in place, and I don't need to have a model for where I am going as a business. And what I have found to have been my weakness when I started was that as well, that I'm just building for now, and I'm just building for now. I don't have a long-term thing. If I sell 3 today and I sell 9 tomorrow and I sell 12 the other day, where am I trying to go? And if I don't have, I'm thinking I will only have a system when I have a full store. There's a point of there's shelves and everything else. It's easier to actually build a system when you are still smaller and when you're still starting off, and then we will build models, we'll document them. What is good about it is that things won't go according to the model, because even as we do research, we're collecting data where you want to plant your business, isn't that they are not always going to be as documented, but at least you have a structure, which is, this is the direction I'm trying to take, which also brings me to answer my question, what pushed me to leave the public sector to go into private. Number one, it's always been personal things. Like I mentioned, I'm a loving person. So the fact that I would see a patient manje, clinic so about 5. Next week I'm going to be placed in the PEDS clinic. Next week I'm going to be in the TB clinic. I'm unable to follow up my patients the way I want to follow them up. I see you, I prescribe it something. It's not personal. It wasn't personal for me. Where I see you, I don't know if you're going to get better. Next week when you come back, you're going to see another doctor. So for me, that wasn't sitting well with me, and it was making me very uncomfortable. Then I decided I'm going to go into private practice, where I know if I say you come back next week, you are going to be coming back to me. If I say you come back next month, you are going to be coming back to me. Then I'm able to follow up, and then I'm also able to feed from that energy of seeing you recover. It was just killing the whole thing of wanting to be a medical doctor, where I don't ever see you again. I meet you once and I'm never going to see you again. I don't know if you recovered or you didn't make it or what happened after that. So that's what pushed me to go into private practice. Did I have funding? No, I did not have funding. I only had passion, and I only had what I wanted to do at the time. So what I did was, the day I decided I'm going to go into private practice, I started to cut down on going out. I started to cut down. I downgraded my car. So I wasn't paying for accommodation. So I started to be intentional with what I want. So I sat down and I said, to go into private practice, this is the X amount of money you will need to start. So I started to save towards that. I started to do extra jobs as well. I used to work for certain doctors where I'd take the money and then I'd save it up. And then luckily for me, I had only been working for a couple of years, so my pension wasn't that much. But I also cashed that one out as well, because I needed the money to be able to go start, so that I can be where I'm comfortable and be doing something that I'm passionate about, and I'm able to engage with people and follow them up as well. So that's how my business started. I had to do extra jobs, and I also had to cash out the little bit of pension that I had. So that's how it started.
Thank you for that. Because we don't have much time and we don't want to mess up cricket, I'd like to just give my panelists just a word of closing and advice to everyone. And when we finish, we will be around for a few minutes for anyone who wants to pose any questions or wants to have further discussions as well. So I'll start it, let me start it here for your closing, and we'll go around. Just 1 minute. What's your advice? Where are we? What's going to happen? How can you help our fellow students?
All right. My advice to fellow students, my fellow students, study your books. But that's true. But on a bigger scope, to feed up to your passion or aspirations of the whole spectrum of entrepreneurship. Firstly, understand that entrepreneurship, responding to the question, entrepreneurship is not business. My perception in that conversation is that entrepreneurship is mindset. Work on that mindset of yours to always trigger it for positivity at all times. Where there are challenges, find excitement to solve them. Be risk averse, but find excitement in risks, because the riches are bigger when the risks are bigger. But study the principles of business or entrepreneurship. What we used to do is what we called the Business Model Canvas Challenge. We sourced that in Bangladesh with one of the guys, Untlaga, we were delegated with to go and study from the Grameen Bank. Grameen Bank being a bank which was founded by Professor Mohammed Yunus, who's a Nobel Prize winner. Those guys, how they make the street vendors, the guys that do are street vendoring, understand business in its entirety with the little resources that they're doing and the small scale that they're going to be operating on. And they introduced us into that exercise, of which they call it the Business Model Canvas Challenge. But we did the fancy one because, we're in the university, and we were using Ubers. But what the Business Model Canvas does, it has 9 blocks that are going to unpack for you the different aspects that you need to understand about each and every business. And I took on those principles today because we more start with consulting for any client that we're going to work with, their brand. By the time they speak, I've made sure that all the guys within the team that go to meetings, that's how we assess the business. We just put it in the 9 blocks, understand what is what. By the time we're asking questions, we are just filling in those blocks. And that's something that I learned while I was still a student. And it has made me not to venture in any business that really doesn't make sense to me. So it needs to make sense, and the best way to make it make sense is that you study or you live and understand your business model canvas. It's the engine of operating, because you will be lazy to do your business plan. Do the business model canvas, and then when you go to incubate, they will ask you for a business plan, and then you'll be doing a business plan understanding the 1 page that you do. And then you can populate the whole thing and then do all the financials, and then you'll understand everything. Secondly, let's not fear money. Let's not fear money, but let's attract money and find proper ways to make it. Like making 2 rand is making money, but it will build on the culture of you need to find ways to make money. But be kind to people while you can. Just find ways on how do you profit. Find ways on how do you make business out of the small engagements that you're doing. Don't want to go for the millions of businesses and everything. But while you start to making money, just for those of you who are already exhibiting, what has been a greatest lesson for us, I liked when you mentioned the J thing, because I think in our business, we've been up. I think we're at the bottom of the J right now because we've had a series of challenges, and now we are just regrouping and everything, and the systems are in place now. We're starting to go up again. Don't judge me if I come back and say we are still at the bottom of the J. But yeah, we're on our cave. The greatest principle was that money, we need to know how to manage it. And whenever we are having sessions with our accountants, they do these management reports things. And every single cent is broken down, and they deal with me thoroughly. I mean, I love gadgets. They know when I buy a computer, I don't buy a normal one. I go for the most expensive one. When I buy drones, I go for, I love those gadgets, but I sometimes struggle to justify why I wanted the company to have those proper gadgets, of which they look really nice. But now I need to be able to justify why I need to do that, because that money is no longer my money. But I love it, and I work for it. I find creative ways to make it, but to manage it is also a critical thing. So I will end it on that note, and just start, yeah? Don't think about it too much. Just start.
The squatter camps are in South Africa. There were where the squatter camps are in South Africa.
Know how to do it, but I knew people who knew how to do it, and I'd buy it from them, sell it on Instagram and Facebook, and I made a lot of money. I made good money. To such a point where I said to myself, hey, you know what, I was in 2nd year. In fact, I say so every Monday I had to take a bus to Joburg because the flights didn't make sense. It was going to cost me more money than Malwak Fanengians. So I'd take a bus at 8 or 9. So I'd take a bus at 8 p.m. in the night, arrive in Joburg at around 3 XN, go to the market, buy come back. So that's me missing school. I'm staying at Reyes and everything. So the reason why I'm sharing that is because, one, I thought when I started the business, I was very excited. You know, I knew my friends liked the whole traditional look, you know, it was fashionable and whatnot. So when I started, I thought my first clients were obviously going to be my friends. I was very disappointed, guys. I was very disappointed. So the point I'm trying to drive is, if you're going to start a business, don't think your friend is going to support you. My principle in life is I've had very little to no disappointments in life in general. Why? Because I don't expect anything from anyone. So anything that I do get is actually a gift. It's like, oh, wow, you got me a sandwich, because I wasn't expecting you to go get me a sandwich anyway. So when you're starting a business, the first disappointment you're going to deal with is your family and your friends not supporting you. You're not starting the business for them anyway. So that's why I said, when you're starting a business, it's not about you, it's about other people. It's about you providing solutions to your friend. So now don't think, oh, okay, because it's not about me, my friend has acne, so I'm starting a business for her. You're going to be very disappointed. But the people who are actually going to grow your business are people also at places like this. It's you marketing yourself. Another thing, don't miss an opportunity to learn. Don't miss an opportunity to learn. What I always say, I met a girl, be qualified or something to that effect. So I said to her, then what are you doing about it? And she said, oh, no, nothing. I said, who are your friends? I said, that's where the problem is. You need to align yourself with people. Mr. Kambule said this, go find people in that field where you want to go. Me, now I'll share something personal. So as I say, I started a business, left it, forgot about it, went on to, but I continued. Oh, but did I mention I dropped out? I dropped out, guys, when I was in second year because I was making so much money. I remember I once made 30,000 rands, and I was like, you know what? I am not selling ubuhlalo, by the way. A week, I'd make like 5,000 rands. I was making a lot of money. So better take that business very serious. The systems we're talking about, put those in place, because it could be the only thing you'll ever have to do. So I dropped out. It was during that fees must fall thing. I was like, well, school is a mess. I don't need this. I'm making more money. And by the way, people who have degrees, I get paid more than them. I don't need to do this. Then I left. Business was doing well. It was great, guys. I was cruising nicely. January came. So unlike the J, I was like, it was, because it started from the top, I was like, to school. So now the defense was, when people asked, oh, so you dropped out? I was like, yes, because so why should you let one rejection letter where you're applying for a job make you want to start something else? I found another job while I was there, because I knew, I said, you know what, where I am, I'm not really learning the skills. At that point, I knew I wanted to start my own practice, but I knew I wasn't learning the things. I knew I couldn't do a bail application. I knew I couldn't do it. Like, I came home to my husband and said, you know what, I want to open my own practice one day, but I don't know enough. And even if I live here, it means I need to find a firm that does what I've been doing. So that's one area of law. Anyway, I left. So my salary went, I think I had to take 3 times less than what I was getting paid. Right? Because I knew what I wanted. But someone would have just said, oh no, I'm getting paid a really good salary, and if I work really hard, I'll stay here and whatnot. So I left, and I was paid, I'm even scared to even say it, but anyway, for a lawyer. Lawyers take taxes, by the way. There's lawyers who earn 2,500 rands. Yes. Guys, it's 2.5 to 3.5. And if you're really lucky and your English is polished, then that's like go 5,000, Ganje. I promise you, I'm not making this up. Today, I'm an employer to somebody. And that's the price. This is not about me. This is not about me. But anyway, I had to undergo all that training with that salary. Now imagine, I've got kids, I've got a home, I've got that, I want to buy stuff and all of that. But I knew it was just for 1 year. It was just for 1 year. So I sacrificed. I finished, and then I started my own practice. So you would think, oh, now it's going to be great. Now I'm starting my own practice. Where are you going to get the clients? Where? Who knows you? Who knows you? I always tell people, if you're in business and we have an opportunity to sit together, angingapheli 2 minutes ungazi ukuthi ngenzani. I'm just that person. Mina, if I'm a pest, because nangoge, it's fine. I'm making money from that. So don't miss an opportunity to sell yourself. Don't miss an opportunity to sell yourself. Tell people who you are and what you do. Don't miss out on opportunities like this, and then invest. Another thing is black people is shy. We don't want to pay for knowledge. We don't. It's just like no izofika ebusuku ngephupho. You know? She's a lecturer and they've got courses for entrepreneurs. You know about that already. Ulu said you need to put systems in place. Mr. Kambule spoke about the exit strategy. So you are running your business thinking, what's going to happen to that business? So you need to now, in that small, in fact, there's no such a thing as a small business, because you start thinking small, then that's going to be you, small. Thanks.
Thank you so much. Before I eat up the cricket time. A lot has been said. I've got a few points that I would like to advise everyone. There's one thing that I was told. You are a sum total of 5 people you spend time with. So you need to be careful and don't live life on autopilot. If I chill with this bandman, I chill with this bandman. You need to be intentional. If I'm sitting with these 5 people, if I'm an average of these 5 people, what am I going to be? So just be intentional with the circles and people that you chill with. You can't be chilling with someone that a vision, and when you have a 2030 vision. So that's not going to work, because we are sharing what you're manifesting, what you want to build. They're just going to be like, Ulu is such a dreamer. I've always been called a dreamer. And when people that I used to sit with back then that used to say I'm a dreamer, that I had to detach myself from and actually so that I can build what I'm trying to build, they'll be calling me now and be like, you actually manifested this, but we thought you were joking. So be intentional with the people that you sit around with. And then also she touched on networking. Be intentional about networking. When you find yourself in those rooms, God didn't place you in that room to be the most beautiful person in the room. God placed you in that room to reap something from it so that it can build you and take you to where you want to go. But that is on you as well. God is not going to go and network for you. Like she mentioned, you need to sell yourself. Be able to sell your business in 1 second. If you are given an opportunity to be in an elevator with the president of the country and the president is moving from one office to another, be able to sell your business in 1 second, where you can say what you want, what you are about, and what you need, and what they can assist you with. So be able to answer those questions, network, and everything that you do, remain authentic to what you want and who you are and what you are trying to build. Because in business, there will come opportunities as a pelele moyeni that come with corruption, that come with a compromise of your faith, they come with things that as a compromise of what you believe in. Know what you believe in, be principled and stick to your principles and remain authentic to what you
Panel.
I would like to see more hands, honestly. I would like to see more hands. Honestly, I would really like to see more hands. This panel has just been phenomenal. So, just well done to, the team for putting this panel together. It's just phenomenal, hey? So just to note, our thanks to College of Law and Management, our event partner, our entrepreneurs. I've just hung on to your every word. Mr. Nhlanhla Kambule, Ms. Zamela Malinga, Mr. Mushle Ntwalane, Dr. Lungile Mhlongo. Thank you so much for sharing your experiences. You've walked such different paths and you have been so generous with sharing all of this amazing knowledge, which I hope, our students have have really taken the notes, just in terms of all of these learnings, because they say that you pay your school fees, but here you have an opportunity to learn from the school fees that they've paid, right? So maybe don't make the same mistakes that they've made. Just try to absorb all of the lessons that they've shared with you. Our student entrepreneurs, for participating in the exhibition, you've all spoke so passionately about your businesses, and you are so inspirational. So thank you for coming here today.
Thank you. And I'm still around if anyone has any questions. Some of the panelists will still be here. And thank you. Goodbye.